Welcome to my Microsoft Excel dashboard tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful dashboard from the scratch. But before then, let's see where this data is coming from. Okay, here is an email from Maven Analytics. So now it's about airline, which is we are having this particular data to be about airline, and you can actually use this to practice, to create portfolio and stuff like that. It happens every month, and you can actually sign up and get email just like what I've just gotten right now. If I scroll down a little bit, what I'm going to see is this particular part where it says full challenge. So let us click on it and see what happens when we get it clicked on. Okay, here comes the full information about the data set and what we need to do and how we can actually, analyze the data to actually speak volume to the company. Now, scrolling down a little bit, what I'm much concerned about is how to play, the Maven Airlines challenge. So right now you can see, follow this challenge, you will be assuming the role of a senior data analyst for Maven Airlines. Okay, now I'm not going to read everything right here, but you have to just go through this page before you can be able to actually make sense with the data. Here is the LinkedIn page of Maven Analytics. So now we have had over 300 submission or entries so far, and this is very huge. I think it's very huge. Well, for real. Now let me show you the entries we have. As you can see, here is my entry. If I scroll down a little bit right now, you can see my name right here. Now, if I keep scrolling down, we're going to have all the over 300 submission we had. I've just gotten downloaded, and you can actually take a look at that and let it serve as some kind of inspiration to you to know how to craft your own, way of creating this dashboard, irrespective of whatever tools you use. Okay, here comes the data set with measures and dimension. So now you might be thinking, how can I make sense with all these numbers right here? What the heck is happening? So if I go down to this particular dictionary right here, so we have what we call data dictionary, which you have to actually, make use of to understand every single column before you can be able to translate it into what it is that you can actually analyze and stuff like that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's get started from the scratch. But before then, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you might want to hit the subscribe button because we have a lot coming up on this channel. And if you're actually a returning subscriber, please go ahead and actually like and share this video to your friends and leave a comment. Let us know what you feel about this. Okay, the first step we need to take to start creating this beautiful dashboard is to Ctrl N to insert a new workbook, just like this. Okay, after this, ordinarily your Excel would look like this on the default. We don't really want this default to look and stuff like that. What I'm going to do right now, click right here. So once you have it clicked done, so you're going to see these three things right here on the drop down. So just go ahead and say auto ribbon and go back and click on it and go to view. From view, what you're going to do right now, for now we just want to hide the header and as well the grid lines. So we want all of this to go hidden. And the next thing we're going to do right now is to change the color of the of the whole workbook, of the whole worksheet. So what I will do is just from to Ctrl A to have every single cells highlighted. I'm going to come right here. As you can see, here I come. I'm going to click right on this particular part here. I'm going to choose this color for it. So once we've done that, I'm going to list this is what I have. So I'm not done yet. The next thing I'm going to do is just go back to view. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to bring back the header and let's see what we have. Something like this. So I'm going to have to make sure I make it like this. And I think it's going to be just like this, right? Okay, once done, what I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I hold this. I'm going to actually make sure I get it this way. This is what it is. So I'm going to go back to the top again, go to home, and from home I want to click on something white. So the color I wanted for this is just this one around this. And if I go back to view right now, I'm going to click on this and this is what we have, something like this. So I'm not really satisfied with what we have right here. So I want to get this one a little bit to the inner, to the left side. So I have to bring this one down. So it's something you have to do and keep adjusting over and over again until you get the right one. So it takes a little bit of time. So now I think we need a little push to the right. Just something, not very much. So I think now we have equalized it. So we centralized the white one in the middle. That is not just all. Let's see what is next. Right now I'm going to click right here, go to insert, and from insert what you're going to see is these illustrations. So click on that and go to shapes, and from there you just have to scroll down like this, and this is what we have. So I'm going to use this particular double wave right here. So click on it, and this is what we did. It's going to drop it down right here. So right now for we to get the same things, I'm going to use the dimension, the height, and the width for you. So to change the height and the width, what you need to do is to go to the top level right here, and here I'm going to make it 0.95. So that is the height, while the width is going to be 13.67, and this is what it is. So now we have something like this. Okay, next is for we to fit it right here. Something like this will be cool for us, just like this. So what you need to do right now is to click on it and make sure you click on Control 1. It's going to bring this out for you. Now, first of all, we have to go to the line and say no line, and come right here. I'm going to go to this particular part. I'm going to go for more. And once we do that, if you're using the latest version of Microsoft Excel 2019, you're going to see this particular hex color right here. I'm going to have to change this to the kind of color I really want. As you can see, it's hash 595959. So I'm going to click on my OK right here. And this is the color I have for it. Can you see that right now? This is what it is. If you look at it, something weird is happening right now. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure I double it. And I'm going to bring this one down. And quickly I want to make sure I have to remove the zigzag or curveness whatsoever it is. So I'm gonna have to make this one a little bit smaller, and once I'm done with that, I'm gonna have to click on this. Just you can see what I've done. Actually, highlighted both of them. I'm gonna click at the top level, go to this particular format shape right here, and quickly what you're gonna see is this particular align. So I want to align in the center, and I'm gonna go ahead and align top. That is what it is. So let's see. So this is what we have. So if you look at it, we've covered the top one. So now you can see when I right click right now, I'm gonna go ahead and group it, and we have grouped them together. So I can actually move it up a little bit. So this is the space I want to have. So this is how we've gotten this kind of design we have right here. So what is next for us right now is to make sure we sit it well, and this is all that we need. Okay, if you look at the finished one, this is what we have done. This is how we got this. So the next thing is for you to get the logo you want to use. Okay, right. I want to use the company's logo, and from the logo I want to pick up the colors I want to have for my dashboard. That is awesome. So already I have it right here. You can go ahead and actually Google it. You see it on Google and use the transparent one. So now we just have to go back to the one we are creating, and here we go. I'm gonna have to drop it right here. I'm gonna come and have it right here, something like this. That is nice. There is something you might have been thinking of, like, how did you do it? Maybe you don't even pay attention to know what it is that I'm talking about. Let me show you what it is. As soon as the dashboard is being opened, you want the end user to know what the dashboard is all about, even though if the person is not familiar with it. So I'm going to come right here and pick up this text box from here. I'm going to have to drag it this way. I'm going to type in this right inside the text box. So now this is airline passenger satisfaction, right? Okay, now that we have this, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to Control 1. I'm going to make sure I have the line and the inner color of it. Can you see that right now? So for now I'm going to have this one closed and see how I can actually format this nicely. Let's do it. So first of all is to choose the kind of font you want to use. I love this particular cardboard body, and I'm going to go ahead and use 32 right, just like this. Can you see that right now? So once we are done with this, I'm going to have to make sure I make it a little bit smaller, just like this. I'm going to fit it in where we want to have it. Somewhere around here is going to be cool for me. I think I love something like this. Okay, now that we have something like this right here, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Now it is time for we to give it the nice color that we want. So we want to go ahead and give it a color. So I'm going to have to Control 1 And once I've done that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this particular text right here, and this is what we have. We can't do this from here, it's not going to be possible. So go to this particular part and click on text and use the gradient fill. Can you see this right now? So from the gradient fill, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take away one single stop out of it, and I'm going to change the direction so it's something like this. Can you see that right now? So this is the direction. So for now, I'm going to have to put this one on something like this. I want to put it on white. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to change this one to another color. I'm going to have to put it in something like this. And I'm going to come right here. I'm going to change the one to this one here. Something like this is what I've done. So you might not be too cool with what you have. You can want to make sure you just adjust it and move this rightly. Now we have this three kind of different color that is kind of like fitting into the order. Okay, I told you, you want whoever is actually looking at this to know what dashboard is all about without thinking too much. So we need to have something that actually depicts airlines. So that was why we googled something like this that is gonna be transparent type of it, and we have it right here. So let us get this away from here to that particular part of our dashboard so that we shouldn't go ahead and start making search of this and waste much of our time. Okay, I'm gonna go back right here. So I'm gonna click right here right now. So we just have to paste this one down. I'm gonna move it. Here we go. So now completed. So it is time for we to start to get more interested in this and see how we can actually create something very amazing. Okay, the next is for we to actually create our first analysis, but before then, let's see what we're gonna do. So right now we need to get a shape. I'm gonna click on this particular part right here, go to insert and hit on illustrations, then go to shapes, and from there I'm gonna go ahead and use this particular curvy one, which is rectangle rounded corners. So click on it and drag it down right here, just as big or as little as you want. Okay, after that, right now the next thing we're gonna do is to change the height and the weight and make it fit into what we want. Let's do it. So you know the usual way to do this. Go ahead and click on the top and come right here, and we have to just change the numbers we have right here. I'm going to use 6.13. I'm going to do that by what? I'm going to do that by 2.87. That is going to be cool. So when we get back right now, this is what we have. Can you see this right now? So I'm going to have to bring it right here, and this is what it is. So I'm not really cool with what I have, right? Because it's some kind of curvy. So to actually reduce the curviness right now, what we can do is to click on this particular yellow circle right here and drag it a little bit to your satisfaction. And I think I'm gonna be cool with something a little bit curvy like this. And now I duplicate it to have the second one right here. But before then, what I'm gonna do is just to make sure I click on it. I'm gonna have to make sure I go Ctrl+1, and I'm gonna have this. Then we have to change the color out of it. So first of all, remove the outline, so we don't have any outline right on it. So after we've taken off the outline, the next thing is to change the color of the shape. So I'm gonna click right here. I'm gonna click on this one, right, and this is the color I want to have to use. Something like this is cool, so it blends with the background color of this particular part right here, and this is cool. Okay, now we can go ahead and have it duplicated to create the kind of design we want to have. Duplicate it. I'm going to move it right here. I'm going to have to quickly move this one a little bit down, make it smaller as I want. Something like this will be cool for me. I don't want you to start guessing what it is that I've done right here. Instead, let us go ahead and use this particular part right here. Click on shape and come right here. I'm going to have 0.38 right in here. I want to do that by what? By 2.58. And now quickly, let's see what it is that we have. And this is what it is that we have right here. I'm going to make sure I change the color to this one. I'm going to have it at the top level to create a very nice looking design for us. So make sure you click on it like this and come right here and change the color. So come right here and go to more colors and come right here and change this. So look at what I'm going to have to paste right in here. This is the color I've just used. You can actually go ahead and just type this in, #37395F, and you're going to be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and this is what I have. But right now it's not looking very okay No, I'm just gonna change something. Let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use 42 for the transparency. I'm gonna just put that on 42 right here. I think I love something just like this. That is cool. So after this right now, I'm gonna have to move this right to this particular part. Can you see it right now? I'm gonna move it to this part, and I'm gonna have to double this right now. And for now, I'm gonna have to. For this one, I just duplicated. I'm gonna come to the top level right here. I'm gonna put 0.02, I think 0.02 will be cool. 0.2, sorry. I think we just have to use 0.2. Something like this, 0.26. Something like this will be cool. Okay, right now we have to take off the transparency and we have something just like this. And now quickly we can take this one to the top level. But before then, let us put the curveness a little bit right on it. Okay, I want to make sure we see what we are doing. I'm going to have it right here. Now, this is where we go. So, if you look at it, this is what we've just done in the previous one. And this is what it is. So, it's getting much more interesting, right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for you to get a whole thing that is going to right here, it is time for we to create our first analysis and bring it right here and see how those shapes we've just laid down will definitely help. So let's see what the data set is like. First of all, now we have this data with columns, like, we have more of, measures than dimensions, and we just have to be some kind of very, careful with how we do things right here and all of that. So, but how do we go ahead and use this, and how does it really make sense right now? You might be thinking about that, but don't worry, I'm going to show you how. Okay, if you look at this, it has no form of, bold, gold shape and stuff like that. It's just some kind of, text thrown into the, worksheet and stuff like that. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I have it highlighted. It's optional though. What you're going to do is just to click on your Control and T and turn this into a table. That is nice. Why do we do that? Every single time we have new data coming in and we just pour it beneath this particular one right here, the whole dashboard gets to update. That is the reason why I want to use table. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and actually start analyzing and stuff like that. But when it comes to update, we are going to have problems. So click on OK right here. Now we have our table ready. I'm going to go to the top level again. So what I'm going to do right now is to change the style, whatever it is. So I just feel like maybe I want to use something like this or something like this. Whatever you want to use is cool, but you can just choose anyone right here. It's optional though. I just want to make sure I make it a little bit fancy. I think I have something like this. Doesn't really add anything to what we are doing. So now let's see what it is that we should do. Hope you remember the first question that we have actually asked ourselves. That is knowing what you're doing. Okay, before we get lost, let us look at what the question is and what the company really wants us to do. It says your task is what? Your task is to recommend a data-driven strategy for increasing Maven Airlines satisfaction rate and present it in the form of a single page report or dashboard. So we're going to be doing something very cool right now. So we've known what it is that we want, and that was exactly what we had done, and we're trying to replicate this, but I want to show you how to do this. This is just a question being asked. Let's say you're working in an organization and you have to some kind of go ahead and create something with this question. What are you going to do? Just one single visual? It's not going to work that way. You have to do something beyond that. So for that, we've just created this particular canvas just for this. So what are we going to do that right now? Let's see the first we're going to do. Okay, now I'm going to click on this one, double click on it. I'm going to turn it to dashboard. Dashboard, I'm going to come right here. I'm going to double click it. I'm going to turn this one to my data. And now we just have to insert our first pivot table. I use pivot table and formula. I'm going to click on the top level right here, go to insert, and from insert, I'm going to go for pivot table. There are so many ways to insert pivot table, but this is just one of the easiest way and the laziest way, whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use the new worksheet because already we don't have any worksheet opened. I'm going to click on this OK right here. So now here we go. We have our first pivot table being inserted for us. So what are we going to do? That is exactly the first question we should ask ourselves. Now we know what it is. Okay, let me just let you know something. Before you go ahead and create anything in this kind of situation, if you're not some kind of familiar with the industry, what you have to do for the first time is to some kind of make your research. Specifically, if you're working as a freelancer and you got something like this, and you're gonna get paid for it, and you have to deliver the job the way the person really wanted it before you get paid, the first thing is to go to Google and make a lot of research. I did a lot of research before I actually start to create and stuff like that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You know, most of the columns right here, I don't understand what departure and arrival is. I don't understand what delay, you know, all those, you know, a lot of columns we have right here. I don't know what it is. Before I transform this into information that is going to be readable and some kind of be used for decision, I have to go and make my research so that I would know what I'm doing. So I've done that, and it's something you can do as well if you're not familiar with airlines, specifically if you've not traveled out of your country before. You might not really some kind of be very familiar with it. So now it's something very simple for me because already I have done my research, and you should too in any data set you're working on. That is how I always get the heart of my work out to this particular, you know, Excel. Okay, now let's get on it. The first thing I'm gonna do is just click on this particular part right here, and I'm gonna pick up my customer types. So we have two types of customers, right? So now who are they? First time and returning customers, like people flying for the first time and people returning. That is some kind of like customer retention. No, the customer that we've had over time. Now I don't want to just have something like this. What I'm going to do right now is to make sure I stay click inside here. I'm going to go to the top level. From there I'm going to click on this particular design. I'm going to go back right here. You can see we have this particular part right here. But we to see what we're doing, I'm going to make sure I bring this one down so that we can see the effect of what we are actually getting as a result. I'm going to paste it down right here. Okay, so Ctrl X to cut it away from there. Just sorry for that. Ctrl X to cut it away from here. I'm going to bring it down right here. Okay, now we can go to this particular design right here. Once we get the design, so I'm going to click on this particular format layout. I'm going to go ahead and use this particular show in tabular form. And now it's giving me the header to be customer type. I want to go to grand total. I'm going to say don't show grand total. And this is what it is that I have right here. Okay, beautiful. Now I want to know how many customers are some kind of like first time and returning customer. So right now in this situation, what we want to do is just to make sure we default any column into count. How about that? Does it make sense? But the one that quickly default into count is when we bring, you know, in a dimension. You must know what a dimension is all about before now. Okay, in case you don't know what dimension is, let me take you up and show what dimension is all about. Now those column with text, they are our dimension. This is our dimension. So this is some kind of measure where we have numbers that will be aggregated. So if we drag this right now and you're not some kind of like conscious of what you've done, you might end up having sum instead of count. So for that, I would always advise you not to do the wrong thing. Just go ahead and drag this right here. I'm going to drag this, and now what we have is count. So if I go ahead and drag something like a measure right in here right now, let me just go ahead and drag something like this. Now it's giving us some. Can you see this right now? It's giving us some. If you look at this right now, it's giving us some right here, but you can still change this one to the same thing like the previous one. I'm going to go right here, and now what I've just done, look at it again. So click here, this particular little arrow down, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it. You can see view field setting. I'm going to click on that, and now here we go, we have it. So you can actually change it to count, and here we have the same thing. But I don't want to use this. I just want to illustrate what it is that you should have done if you actually have just measure dragged in. Okay, now I can actually come right here right now, double click on it, and you can change the name of this to anything you want to do. I'm going to just say total passengers. So now we've changed the name to total passengers. Now it is time for you to create chart from this so that it could be some kind of very simple to read. How about that? Very simple. Let's do it. Okay, to create our first chart, click right here, go to the top level. I'm going to click on this particular insert, or you can come and click on pivot table, because already we are on pivot table. You can click on it and go ahead and click on this particular chart right here and select the kind of chart that would definitely convey the information you want to actually bring out. Okay, on that particular part, right, I'm going to click on this pie chart, and from there I'm going to change it to something like this particular donut chart right here. Okay, double click on it to help you to actually insert it, and that is cool. So once we're done inserted this one right now, what I'm going to do is just to make sure I right click and go right and say hide all fields. So now it's gone. So I'm going to take this legend off because I want to have to create my own. So that is how unique it's going to look like. So now once we've just gotten this done, I'm going to cut it away from here. I'm going to take it all the way to my dashboard. Now I'm going to have to click here and some kind of paste it down. So you can see we have background right on it. So double click on it and have this up and turn off the background we have for it. So they are gone nicely, huh? So the next thing is for we to resize this. You understand? So we don't need to guess this. I want to use something accurate, just like what I've actually used previously before now. Then you can follow along just like what I've done. You can replicate this exactly the way it is right now. Let's do it. So make sure you have the chart clicked. So once you have the chart clicked, go to the top level right here, click on format, and from there we just have to go right here and make sure this one's going to be 2.01. So when I do that by what? By 2.83, and this is what it is. So now if I go back right now, we're going to have something like this. So I'm going to have to make sure it sits right at the right spot, right? So now here we go. We have it right here. Okay, now that we've gotten this, next thing we're going to do right now is you can see the white color around it. So we don't really want it. Click on it and come right here. I'm going to have to say no line. That is beautiful. And the next thing again is for we to get the color we want to use for it. And for this particular part right here, I just want to make sure I click it until I see the color appeared right here, and I can go ahead and change it to something like this. So I want to make sure that this one matches the color of the header right here, and that is awesome. The next thing I'm going to do is to change the color to this one as well. So what am I going to do? What color do we want to have for this? So we want the color to match the logo color, and that is beautiful. So we shouldn't have a lot of colors on our dashboard. Let the color just be some kind of like feel, and it should convey a very good message. So for this one right here, we're going to use green, and what we can do right now is to just come right here, and I'm going to paste the green, hex code right here. Can you see that right now? This is the green hex code, and what I'm going to do is just to hit on my OK right, and we have the green right here. So right now, those colors we have right here is the colors we're going to be using consistently till we are done with our creation. So how about that? Very interesting, right? So I'm not done yet. Look at what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go to the top level, right? So go to the same shape and illustrations. I'm going to go to shapes. I'm going to come and bring this circle, click on it. So coming right here, I'm going to hold on my shift key. I'm going to drag it until I have something else around as this. I'm going to have to keep dragging it again. I want to have to make sure it covers this particular part right here. Something like this would be cool for me. So quickly, I want to take off the outline, and now I want to change this one to white, just to make it some kind of a little bit fancy. So how about this? This looks some kind of awesome compared to if we leave it just like, okay, let me just say we leave it like this. Can you look at how it looks right now compared to something like this? Nicely. So it's some kind of like sometimes think out of the box. Even though if it is not going to add anything to the analysis, make sure it looks some kind of fancy. Okay, now we have to bring in an image, just a little icon just like this. I'm gonna have to put the icon right here. It is something you can have on Google. Just go ahead and get it. I'm gonna be having this for you on the download link. So once you actually take the full course, you can get this right all for free. Okay, now that we are done with it, the next thing I'm going to do right now is for we to hit back to our analysis, which I've not really named. I'm going to name this one analysis 1. So because I'm going to have a lot of sheets to analyze my data, and after that I'm going to have to come right here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to have to paste this right here because it's going to grow. I'm going to have to make sure I move it a little bit right here. Ctrl V will paste it down for me. And right now what I'm going to do is just to make sure I get it off. I'm going to take off the type away from here, and what I just want to have is just the numbers of the passengers alone, right? So now what we can do is just to make sure we hold our control and highlight all of them. Ctrl 1 will help us to actually bring this up. And now we just have to go to number, and we have to take off the extra decimal, and now put this comma separator and click on OK, right? And this is what it is. So we have our comma separator right on it. So what are we going to do for the first time? We just have to go back right to the dashboard here. And now I'm going to go to the top level. I want to go to this particular text box. I want to have to bring it up to this particular part right here. And now we just have to go ahead and turn on our formula bar temporarily for now. So the formula bar is on. So once we have the formula bar, I'm going to put on my cursor right here. Then I'll go to my watch, go to my analysis one and pick this up. Now, if you look at it, we might go into some kind of be having something different. Let me show you something before we go on. So if I go ahead and actually click on this particular analyze, people actually always some kind of ask me, how did you do this? So if you come right here, please click on this particular options. Once you click on option, click on generate get pivot data. So your problem will be solved. Else you're going to be having problem, taking the information you have right here to your dashboard. This is what you need to click. This is a little bit trick that you need to know about. Okay, now let's just do the right thing. I'm going to come right here again. So we made a mistake not having our equal to right there. So have your cursor right here and put your equal to and go back here. And I'm going to pick this one, hit enter, and there we have it. So right now it is time for we to format this to look very nice on our dashboard. How do we do that? Very simple and easy. Let's do it. Okay, right now we have to change the fonts. So come here. And I'm going to use something like this. I'm going to put it on bold and I'm going to come right here. I'm going to use 20 for it, something like this. And I want to come right here quickly. I want to use the same font. And here we go. I'm going to have to expand it to make sure it shows all the figures. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit because I want to have something right here to tell me what it is that I have. Okay, after that, because we have background that is kind of distorted right now, I'm going to Ctrl+1 to take it off. So go ahead and take off the line and take off the fill color. And this is what we have. Can you see this? Beautiful. Okay, next is for we to actually get our passengers right there so that people can actually relate what we have right there is, passengers. So we just have to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and take off the fill and the line and actually go ahead and, put it right here. Something like this will be cool for me. And I'm going to go ahead and put it right in here to make sure I change the color. So something like this will be cool. So I can actually centralize it so that I can actually readjust my work. So now we can readjust just like this and make sure we centralize it. So everything is done nicely. This is beautiful, huh? Okay, next is for we to take this circle we have right in here. I'm going to actually click on it, double it, and here we go. We have this right here. We just have to move it right to this particular part. I'm going to have to make it some kind of little, as small as it is, like this. I'm going to have to hold it. I'm going to have something just like this. So once I'm done, Ctrl+1 will help me to bring this back here. I'm going to have to bring it here. And now I'm going to change the color to this color. That's the first color. The second one, I'm going to have to make sure I make it visible. So I'm going to change it to something like this. What am I creating? Ask yourself that before we go ahead and do it finally. So I'm trying to create the legend that represents every single color on the circle we have right now. So how about that? Simple and easy, huh? So now once we are done, we're going to have to cancel this off. And here we go. So very nice. So let us deal with the first one first. I might want to make my legend some kind of bigger than this. I'm going to hold my control. I'm going to hold my shift key and, make them bigger a little bit. Okay, now that is cool. For the first one, let us deal with this one first. I'm going to have to bring it to the particular top right here. Now we just have to get this first time. I'm going to have to make sure it is right here. And now this is what it is. This is the legend that represents this particular circle we have right here. So now the next thing we're going to do right now is to go back here and click on it. And now we have to create percentage. So now I'm going to go ahead and create my total. Myself, I just love doing this. Sorry, not equal to, but something like this. Total. I'm going to just go ahead and use the sum function. And I'm going to come right here and sum the two cells together. I have this. So why am I doing this? Because I want to create percentage myself, right? Okay, now this percentage, if I just want to go ahead and drag this and actually create percentage from pivot table is going to actually distort my chart. So for that, I want to actually do it manually. So what am I going to do? I'm going to just actually going to go ahead and put my equal to and actually go ahead and say this number right here, I want to divide it by this number. And now because I want to copy this down, what am I going to do? I'm going to click on my F4 key just once and lock it down, which means this one is actually locked down absolutely. So after I've done with that, I don't want to leave this cell. So if I hold my control right now, click enter, so I'm still going to remain in the cell without moving from the cell, just like what I've done now. So now what I'm going to do is just for me to actually drag it down and have it for both. So Control 1 will help me to format it nicely the way I want. I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, now just use that particular two decimal point. That is okay. And now we have the percentage that represent each and every one of them. Beautiful, huh? So what am I going to do next is for me to actually make sure I have that on my dashboard. Let's see what to do. So I can go ahead and have this one clicked and duplicate it. And I'm going to have it right here. I'm going to quickly go ahead and make sure I go and bring what I want to have right there. I'm going to bring this for I think this is the returning, right? This is the returning. I'm going to bring this one, hold my enter. Okay, this is the first time. For the first time, I want to go back. First time, I think first time, this should be my returning. Okay, this is returning. Okay, if this is returning, let's go back and see. We have to be sure of what we are doing before we go ahead and do something that doesn't really work. So returning is actually carrying the 81 point something percent. That is the highest one for the returning. So if I go ahead and actually hover over this right now, this is my returning. Can you see this right here? Which means this one is very correct. So, but what is actually missing right now is that we don't want to have it on 2 decimal point. I just want to have it on 1 decimal point to fit into what I really want. So I want to put it on 0, and now I have something just like this. So can you see this right now? So now we can resize this, and we can just go ahead and go to the top level right here and change the color to something like this that's going to pop out the color we want to have it right in. So now I'm going to have it right here. So this is what it is. So let us have it right here just like this. And after this, what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I can go ahead and duplicate this one, duplicate it, and have it beneath this one right here. And I want to quickly go ahead and put my equal to right here again. And I'm going to go back to my analysis, and quickly for the returning, I want to get the value we have right for it. And this is what it is. So now this is what we have. So to format this, just go to the top level right here, and I want to put this one on 12, and I want to make it bold, and I want to quickly go ahead and change it to something just like this, so it looks some kind of calm. So nicely, I love this. Now we are not done. We have some other charts beneath this one that explain further how many of these are for X, Y, and Z. Let's try and see what it is that we can do to have that done, to explain more to the end users. Let's do it. Okay, we don't have to recreate the pivot table again. So all I need to do is just to make sure I copy from here, copy, and I'm going to go ahead and copy from here. I don't want to copy all the whole, like the total part of it. I just want to copy this one alone. This is the pivot table I have created, and now I just have to move to this particular part. So we just have to go ahead and have this one pasted right in here. Control V will help us to paste this right here. So now that we've gotten this right now, let's see what is next. Okay, if we come right here, we have what we call class. I'm going to have to click on this and have my class right here. This is what it is. So it looks cool, right? But it's not really what we want. So how do we actually adjust it to what we really want? So let's do this. It's very simple and easy. So right here, I'm going to type in my first, and right here, I'm going to type in my percentage of passengers. So that is exactly what it is. So now I'm going to just put my equal to right here. So I'm going to have this particular business, and I'm going to have to drag it down to create the other part. Now we have it, right? So we just have to open it up. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is for we to make sure we get a percentage right here. And it's very simple and easy. We have done that before now, except if you can't remember what we've done. So I'm going to put my equal to right here. I'm going to divide this number by the grand total. Can you see this right now? Very simple and easy. And what you can do if you don't want to step away from this particular, cell is hold your control and hit enter, and you have it. So now if I go ahead and drag it down now, is what I have. So if I actually click on this, so actually look at what is going on. It's not working because we made a mistake. It's giving us the wrong value. We should have this for you to learn. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just to make sure I just get it to the last two off. I'm going to double click on this, and right now I'm going to have my cursor on this particular part of the red where we have this red, which is this particular cell right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock it down absolutely by using your F4 key. And if your F4 key is not working for you, depending on your computer, all you have to do is to actually use manual way to do this. Just put your the dollar sign around the N. You understand? That is the cell where we are. So once we are done with that, I'm going to hit on my enter key, and now I'm going to copy down. And if I go ahead and double click on it right now, it's not leaving this particular part right here. If I double click on the second one, you can see what it is. Can you see that right now? So if you're novice and you don't know what is going on right now, I've explained to you in detail what it is that you need to do, and it's working so well. Okay guys, once we are done with this, what I'm going to do is just to make sure I actually hold my control 1 and come right here and go for the percentages, and I'm going to put it on 1 decimal. I'm going to hit my OK key. So now we've just created the percentage of people under the business class and the economy and economic plus class right now. So it is time for you to create a kind of chart that is going to be very okay for you to actually display this on our dashboard, which is very simple and easy. What chart is that? It's very simple. First of all, I'm going to go for my business. I'm going to actually make sure I highlight it. I'm going to go this way. And what we can do right now is that we cannot see the pivot table to appear right here, because right now this is not pivot table, but that doesn't mean that this is not going to update. Every single time this particular pivot table updates, this as well would definitely update. So right now we can go to insert, and from insert, what are we going to choose? I'm going to actually go ahead and click on this recommended chart right here, and what we're going to use is this particular chart. Click on it, and this is what we have. So quickly I want to take off this. I'm going to take off this as well, but don't take off this yet. But we're going to take it off in a jiffy. Don't worry. Okay, what I'm going to do right now, let us see what we have. So what we can do is just to double click on this one. So I'm going to have this up. Make sure you reset this one to 0, 0, and this one is going to be 1, 1. So if you look at what's going to happen right now, well, let me move this a little bit away from here. So I'm going to take it out. Okay, now it's now started from 0 to what? To 100. But usually this is not what it is. But right now I've gotten it that way. So I'm going to take it off right now. I can quickly go ahead and delete it because we don't need it. So I'm going to take off the grid line. We don't need the grid line as well. And quickly I can actually go ahead and readjust this and take it to my dashboard environment to do the needful right there. Okay, now I'm going to have to paste it down right here, and I want to make sure I actually move this a little bit farther away. Okay, move this a little bit away from here. Okay, now that is nice. Okay, we have this right here, and I'm going to double click on this. I want to take off the fill and the outline, and I'm going to click on this one right here. I want to go right here, and I'm going to make sure I make it to fill it. So that is nice, right? This is nice. So I want to make sure it's something as this. I want to make sure I go this way. Okay, this is nice, but now this doesn't give us what we want. What is going to give us what we want is this. Let's see. I'm going to go back right now. I'm going to turn this one manually into 100% before we come back and redo this again. We're just going to turn it to 100% for now. So if I go back to my dashboard, what am I going to have? I have full 100%. Okay, let's see the magic. Okay, what we're going to do right now, I'm going to go to the top level again. Let's see the magic. Go to illustrations. I'm going to pick these shapes. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to use this triangle. And quickly, let's see what it is. So make sure this particular cross or whatever you call it is right here. Hold it, and actually drag it and have it to cover this place up just like this. Then release. So once we are done with that, I'm going to release it. I want to come right here. I'm going to change that to white. Can you see that right now? And I'm going to come right here and take off the outline. That is gone. But wait a minute. How did you do this? It's very simple. Just take it back and watch. Okay, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to have to make sure I bring it down a little bit. Now that we bring it down, what are we supposed to do? I'm supposed to, okay, now we don't want to bring it down. Take it back and release it just like this. This is what it is, right? Now it covers the whole chart. What are we going to do? I'm just going to go right and click on it. I'm going to send this to back. Send it to back. And now it goes even behind this. And again, I'm going to actually click on this and click on send to back again. Send to back, and it's going to reveal that for us. But we can't see it right now until we have the right percentage right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go back right here. And I'm going to come right here. I'm going to quickly go ahead and do the needful. Go ahead and divide it by, that is it, this one here by this number. So right now we don't want to copy down, so we don't necessarily need to some kind of lock it. So I hit it. So if I go back to my dashboard right now, this is what I have. Can you see what I've just created now? Okay, that is okay. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to make sure I click on this particular part right here and go right to this particular part. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to change it to something like this. Now we have the color. So I want to have to duplicate this over and over again, but you can actually adjust it to make sure the white doesn't show at the top level right here. Do that manually. I'm going to click on home. And once I've done that, you can see this particular part right here where it says find and select. Go ahead and click it. You're going to see this particular select objects. So click on that particular select object and bring it back right here. And now we can actually go ahead and make sure we highlight this. What have we done? We highlight both of them. And what we can do right now is right click and go ahead and group them together. So we click on group. That is nice. So to release this particular select object with, just go ahead and activate it. Just go ahead and click on your escape key on your keyboard and it's going to take that away for us. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to double this. I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to double this again. This is what we have. So now we want to have equal, centralization, like spacing and stuff like that right here. What I'm going to do is just to go to this particular part and come right here and go ahead and use this vertical and actually go ahead and use horizontal. And this is what we have, right? But we are not really done yet. The next thing is again is we've just created for business. So what we can do right now, make sure you double click on it and you have the chart selected along away from the shape we just created. So right click and go to select data. And now it's going to take us right here. So we can select the economy. And if I hit my okay, now we have this. Don't worry about the color yet. We're going to actually have to work on it. So click on it again, double click on it and have the chart alone selected. Right click and go to what? Oh, sorry. Okay. Right click and go to select data. And this time around, we have the economy plus right here and we select it and there we go. We click on OK. And now can you see that right now? So it is time for we to create different colors for it. And that is beautiful. So you have to remember to save your work. That is something very important. Remember to save your work. Okay, now that we've saved our work, can you see that right now? I saved it with what? With YouTube lesson. So now that we've saved our work, what we need to do right now is to work on this particular part right here, which I'm going to actually click on this. And actually, I think I'm going to click on this as well. Click on this and have this clicked. But instead of me to do this manually, this is actually awkward, right? Yes, awkward, of course, because we have a tool that would definitely help us to do this all at once. So I'm going to deselect it. I don't want this one for now. I'm going to have to get it off. So I'm going to go to the top level. So I'm going to go to this particular part called Find and Select. If you want to find it, please click on Home and scroll down to this particular end and click on it and come right here and pick this particular Select Objects. So once you have it picked, so what you can do right now is to select the objects you want to actually have to move at once. So now, can you see that right now? That's cool. So I'm going to move it a little bit to the top. Just something like this would be cool for me. That is beautiful. So once I've done that, I'm going to actually have to make sure this one is a little bit closer to this because I want to give space at the bottom. So I'm going to click on this one as well. I'm going to move it. So I'm going to have to go ahead and do the same thing to this one. And now to be on the safer side, to have equal justification, I'm going to have to highlight both of them, as in all of them together. And right now I want to come right here and go to format shape and come to where do I want to come? I think I'm sorry for that, it's escaping my memory. Okay, now you go to align, because I always love to use this particular distributor horizontally and vertically. So click on both of them and see what happens. Okay, now we have the same space in the middle and every edges, right? That is beautiful. So now that you are done with it, the next thing we're going to concern ourselves much about right now, I think that is the part where we have to change the colors. So I'm going to actually have to come right here and have the color changed. So for this one, right, so we're going to have to introduce a new color. So what I'm going to do right now is to double click on this and make sure it's highlighted. So once I've done that, I'm going to click on this one right here. So if that is active, you'll see this particular color showed up. I'm going to click on it, and we don't have the color I want to use right here. I'm going to click on this one, and what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I customize the color. So by pasting in this particular code, hex code, it's going to give us this. So in case you don't have the hex code, this is what you're going to actually type in to get the same thing. So now we have to click on OK, and once we get back, we can see this color. I'm going to click on this. Already we have the other color ready for us to be used. So click on it and go right here, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and this is the color I want to have right now, and this is what it is. Beautiful, huh? Okay, the next thing I'm going to do right now, double click on it and actually turn on the what? Turn on the data label for it, for all of them. Yes, we did it. The next thing we're going to do right now is very simple and easy. I think that is going to be where we have to make sure we some kind of like get it down a little bit to get space. So that is okay. So I'm gonna have to come right here. I'm gonna double this. I'm gonna have to bring it down this way. So for now, we just have to come right here and put on equal to, or you highlight this one off. So go right here, and quickly I'm gonna turn off this, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the label for it. Okay, this is what it is. So I'm gonna just go ahead and go down here and make sure I float it to the left side. That is nice, right? So we float it to the left side and make sure it sits right, lay on it. So what we need to do is just to make sure we duplicate it, and we have it for this. Now we get this one duplicated and have it for this. And what I'm going to do right now, I don't have to go back again. Instead, I'm going to change this number to what? Change it to 12. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this. I'm going to change this number to 13. So that is what it is. So let me show you what I've done. So right now, if you look at this, this is actually sitting in cell 11. So 12, 13. That was what I've just done. It's very simple. If you understand it, you would actually have very nice work done easily. Okay, after I might have done with that, I'm gonna have to like some kind of put in the value, the main value, not the percentage this time around. So should you can't read the percentage, you can read the values. I'm gonna come right here and pick this up just for once. And once I'm done with that, I'm gonna have to make sure I resize it and actually make sure I make it a little bit smaller. And I'm gonna float it to the left side, to the right side, I mean to say, to the right side, just like this. I'm gonna have to double it. So once I have it duplicated, I'm gonna have to make sure I get this one right here as well. And once we are done with this, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to go ahead and click on this and change this from just what we have done before, from 11 to 12. And here is going to be from 12, from 11 to 13. Something like this will be cool for us. So that is beautiful. So I can just go ahead and click on this and click on this and make sure I have it on the equal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to formats and align this to the right hand side. So nicely, so it has been aligned. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to move it a little bit. Something like this will be cool for me. I'm not satisfied with the color I have. I'm going to go to home. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to choose a fainting color, something like this. It's going to go fainting, something like this. Okay, now we are cool with this, right? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to see how we can actually get this duplicated for the other part of it. And I've told you the tool to be used is actually this particular find select objects right here. So we want to do this all on just for once. Okay, highlight it, and I'm going to duplicate this. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to drag it down. Something like this will be cool for me. Yep, I think so. So we don't have to guess it though. We can actually use, can format it whatsoever it is. So I'm going to take it off. By hitting my escape key, we take off that particular select object away. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to just go ahead and select this one for now. I'm going to drag it away temporarily. I'm going to have it right somewhere around this. I'm going to pick it up in the jiffy. But before then, what I'm going to do right now is to click on this particular circle. Ctrl+1 will help me bring this up, and I'm going to change it to something like this to actually match the legend I want. So that is exactly what it is. So once we are done with that, what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I change this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and go back here. This is where we have it. I think we just go ahead and have it. This is 18. So that is exactly what it is. So I'm going to have to make sure I take it on white. So we just have to click on it. So we have it. So we just have to make sure we move it down to where it should be right here. Okay, this is beautiful, but I'm not too cool with the white color. So instead, I'm going to use the color for this. I think it's going to pop out well when we go on black. So something that can show up very well is what we need, right? Okay, beautifully, we have it. So now I'm not going to do this from the scratch. What you can do is to follow the same thing I had done previously before now to create this particular one right here. So we've just created for first class, and you can do the same thing to create something just like this for returning. So once you do that, so go ahead and actually right click from here. So come right here and make sure you highlight the right one and right click on it and go to select data and go ahead and remove it from here and represent it with the one you've just actually created, which is very, very simple. So for we to actually keep the tutorial very short, now I have to explain to you what it is that you need to do to actually get something just like what we have right now, created something like this. Beautiful. Okay, now this is what it is. So you can just go ahead and put it on your full screen, then you see what it is that I'm talking about. So right now we have this is what we have. So now you might be thinking, we have this, of course, how did we create this and why? It's very simple. It's just to mark the segment of each and every one of them. So all I did was actually, okay, before we do that, let us just do something. Right now, this is not well readable. Nobody understands what is going on right here. It's crazy. We can't read through what is going on right here, but let us make it some kind of very much readable, and the charts and every other elements inside here would definitely make a lot of sense. Let's do that. Okay, the first thing we have to do, I am going to get this particular one here, duplicate it. I'm going to move it out of that place. I'm going to have to expand it. And now I'm going to take off this one we have right here. I don't want it. And I'm going to have something like this inside here. So we have to change this and actually make sure it matches where we want to take it to and the kind of color we want to use right there. That is all. So click on it, right? So once you have it clicked on, I'm going to go right here. I'm going to put it on 14. Leave it on the same. Okay, I'm going to put it on 14. I'm going to make sure it's on bold just like it is right now. And I'm going to come right here. I'm going to change it to white. So that is nice. So right now I'm going to have to reduce it a little bit, and I'm going to have to move it away down to this particular part right here. So we have to make sure it sits right where it should be. And now we have something like this. But if you look at it, it's a little bit awkward, right? So I'm going to have to move it, and I'm going to have to click on this one and extend it a little bit down. Something like this would be cool. So now I can click back on this and actually extend it back to where it should be. And I'm going to go ahead and take it down. Now this actually tells the story about what the whole charts are, but that doesn't really give us the sense of what we are looking for. Instead, what we're supposed to do right now is just double it and come right here and go ahead and change the color to something like this. Okay, this time around I want to go for something just like really as this, and I'm going to take it out from bold. I'm going to just take this away from here. This one's go off, and now we can make sure we get it as small as this. And once we are done with that, I'm going to go off to the top level. I'm going to have to go to shape format and go to rotate shape and put it on left 90 degree. Nicely, right? So now we just have to make sure we bring this right here. So this is where we want to have this right on. But this is not really speaking well with what we want. But nevertheless, just let it be here for now. And once we are done leaving it that way, what I'm going to do right now is just to come back. Just to go back here, I'm going to click on this particular same select object, and when I select the whole object, right, I'm gonna move it away a little bit. I think this will make a lot of sense right now. So now this makes a lot of sense. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just go click on this, where I move it away a little bit and double it and have it for this one as well. You understand? So remember, you have to change this one here to something like returning. And if you remember, you have to make sure you go ahead and create this analysis and actually represent it with this one right here, and you'll be good to go. And next is for me to go right here, insert. I'm gonna go to okay, shapes. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this shape right here. I'm gonna drag it down a little bit, just like this to be cool. And later I'm gonna adjust it. I want to go to the top level right here. I'm gonna go and rotate, and I want to flip it. So once I have just flipped this right now, I'm gonna have to move it away from here. Just click on it and have it moved. So move it down to this particular aspect right here. So move it right here. So now what you need to do is just to make sure you work on the height of this. So now once you've gotten what you want, make sure you align it. So just go ahead and increase a little bit. Okay, that is exactly what it is. So I'm gonna have to make sure I bring it down. Control 1 will help me to bring this up, and what I'm gonna do right now, I want to match this one with this particular color we have for the legend, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and have this one increase just like this. Would be cool for me. And once I'm done with this, what I'm gonna do right now is just to make sure I double this, and I'm gonna have to bring this down. So I told you, don't guess it. You can actually make sure you measure it and align it perfectly, and I'm gonna have to get this for this. So now, beautiful, this is what I have. So if you look at the previous one, this is what it is. Now whoever comes to this particular dashboard right now would definitely be able to relate with what we have right here nicely the way it should be. Okay, after what I've done with all this, the next thing I'm gonna do right now is to click on this and click on the okay, take it back. What I'm gonna do now is actually coming right here. I'm gonna have to make sure I take this one away a little bit, right? So I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna click on the top one. I'm gonna go down and click on this one. Okay, what I want to click on is actually the panel that I've just created, or the shape, if you might call it that way. But I don't have the privilege to click on what I want to click on right now. What I just want to do is just to make sure I get it away. I will take it back in a jiffy. I'm going to have to hold it, and just highlight everything I want to use. I think I have them highlighted. I'm going to copy it. So once I have copied it, I'm going to Control Z to have it back. And once I've done that, I'm going to Control V to paste it down, and this is what it is. So I've just having it duplicated. So what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I go ahead and group this together, then I can actually get it duplicated anytime I want, over and over again. I'm going to have it right here right now. This is what it is that I need to do. I'm going to have that duplicate again. Control Z, copy, and I'll duplicate it. Yeah, just go and have this one right here, and the last one is gonna be this one right here. So right now we have to extend this to this side here. Something like this would be cool, right? So once we have this extended down that way, we're gonna have to hold everything together down. Okay, we just have to make sure we go and actually work on the alignment. So I'm gonna align horizontally and distribute vertically as well, vertically. So we're gonna have equal space right in there. So now the top level is what we need to actually get to concern ourselves much better. I'm gonna go ahead and actually, push it to the top. So equally we have them aligned the way it should be. That is nice, right? So it is time to create the analysis we have right here on this particular part, and we are actually on the right part. Okay, right now we need to create for each group dissatisfaction. That is exactly what we need to do right now. Very simple and easy. So what do we do? I'm gonna have to copy this one here, or you duplicate it. I'm gonna have to push it down this way. So we just have to go ahead and take this off. Control A and change this. So we just have to click on this one right here. So once we have the click done, I'm going to click on this particular format painter. I'm going to have it for this, and this is what it is that we have. So travel by age group, and when I say the dissatisfaction level that we have among this age group, I hope you understand the introduction, what the company really want us to do, and we have to create something very unique and know where these particular people are that are some kind of dissatisfied with our services, and how we can actually make sure we make them happy. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do right now is to go back to this particular analysis right here. This time around, I'm going to copy this pivot table I have right here, and I don't want to use this particular analysis again. I'm going to go ahead and open that one. I'm going to have it pasted right in here, and this is what it is that I have. Okay, right now we have to move our age group in. So now we push the age group right in. It's actually onto the sum because it's the actual number, so it's not grouped yet. I'm going to actually have to move it right here. This is what it gives us. That is awkward, right? Okay, what am I going to do? I'm just going to group this particular, age right now into groups. So what I'm going to do right now is just for me to go ahead and right click on it and go to group. Very simple and easy. There are so many ways to do this. You can do it by you using Power Query to do this. So there are so many ways to do it, but I'm going to actually go ahead and do it. I'm going to click on 7 by 7, starting from 7 to end at 85, and it's going to actually scan through numbers you have right here and help you group it. So I want to group it into 10. I'm going to have something just like this, but am I satisfied with what I have right now? I guess no. So if you're not, you can actually now recreate this again. What if we don't really want this? So what are we going to do? How to do this? You can Ctrl Z to take it back and right click again and go to group. And once you're on that, I'm going to actually put right here 15. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Let's see what we have. Can you see this right now? So we have this. So it has grouped this particular age for us from 7 years old to 21, 22 to 36, and all through and all of that. So we don't really want to have it on normal numbers. So we want to have it on percentage, if all of that. But this is for now. I'm just going to have it a number. So once I have this on normal numbers, I'm going to copy this one away from here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to have to paste it right here, and something different is going to come out right now. So now those are the numbers of passengers we have based on those age groups. But right away, we want to actually get another, information from it. So how do we do that? So we have to actually drill this down by what? By satisfaction level. So I'm going to come down, go scroll down a little bit, and see where I have that satisfaction. I'm going to just go ahead and type it. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna have to click on this, and now this is what we have. So bulky, I don't like this. So now I don't want the satisfaction aspect. What I want is actually the dissatisfaction. That is exactly what it is that we are looking for. So we're gonna click on this particular aspect here, and I'm gonna deselect this and have the neutral or dissatisfaction right here, and this is what it is. But right now this is some kind of ugly. How am I going to use this? Don't worry, I got you covered. So go ahead and click right here, and go click on this particular design, come right here and say do not show subtotal, then it gets that away. But what about this minus and plus sign? How do you get that off? Come right here and click it, and go ahead and click on this one, and everything is gone. We have something very clean right now. So for this one right here, we don't want to, if you look at this number, it has changed because we have drilled down to neutral and dissatisfied. So we take off the satisfaction out of it. So now what I'm going to do right now is just to right click on that and show value as percentage of grand total. And this is what we have. But right now it will not make any damn sense. What are we supposed to do? If we want to actually have this visualized nicely, we have to create another column for it. So I'm going to put my equal to right here. I'm going to have my age group. So once I have my age group, I have to make sure I roll it down and come right here. I'm going to hit this one, total passenger percentage, right? So the percentage is going to be right there, and I'm going to scroll it down. So I'm going to have these weird numbers. So why am I having this? Because I have not turned it into percentage. So now I'm going to go right here, Ctrl 1. I will definitely go to my percentage, and I'm going to have to take it out from just 2 decimal point. If I want to use 1 decimal point or whatever it is, I'm just going to go on with 0, and this is what it is. But I'm not too satisfied with this. I just want to go back again, and I'm going to use on 1 decimal point, right? So this is what it is. So now we have this. What is next for us to do? It is time to visualize this and show this on our dashboard. So how do we go about it? It's very simple and easy. Let's do the first one right now. Is this one right here. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go right here, go to pivot table, analyze, and I'm going to come right here. I'm going to choose this, and here's what it is. So what we need to do is just get this one away from here. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to go right here. So right click and actually go ahead and hide this away, and come right here and take this off this axis. I don't really want it. So now we have to take off these grid lines, and after that I'm gonna have to make sure I make it a little bit smaller, and it's time for us to take this to a dashboard and see how it fits into where we want to have it. Okay, there we go. Click on this and Ctrl V to paste it down, and right away we have it right here, and we just have to make sure it sits right here. That is beautiful, but it looks kind of ugly. What are we supposed to do to make sure this is nice, right? Okay, first of all, let us check the weight. So format, come right here. We're gonna use 1.49 by watts by 3.16. That is all. So now here we go. We have it. So now that we have this, we have to make sure it sits right here. You might be like, it extends beyond what we have right here, but don't worry, I'm gonna get you to do it. Well, double click on it and you have this little box up, and now we have to remove this and go ahead and take this off, and there we go. We have it sits right, huh? Now after that, I'm gonna have to make sure this one pops out very well. Ctrl B will help me to bold it, and nicely done. So once we are done with that, we click on this again, and we click on this particular part right here where it says series options, and we have to make sure we increase this to something like 38%, right? And once we're done with that, I'm going to go right here and change the color to something just like this, and it matches my dashboard. That is awesome, right? So once we are done with this, what are we supposed to do again? Is for we to have a data label right on it. So now we just have to get it off for now. We don't want it. We're gonna go ahead and click on this one and go ahead and go to data label, and here we go. We can see now based on age group, you can see how many passengers we have per age groups that we have right here. Guys, we don't have too many people on the age group of 87 to 96. We only have few people. I think those actually amount to the lower numbers of people boarding our plane. Okay, now we have this, right? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to recreate this over and over again? I guess no. I'm going to actually have to make sure I take this down and right click on this and go ahead and do something. But it's not going to work that way because this is actually a pivot table. If I right click on this right now and select, it's going nowhere. I can't edit this chart. Just like the way I would be able to edit the other one that is not pivot table of a thing, just like what we have done right here. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I take this off. I just want to delete this as a whole, and I want to go back right here. I'm going to put this one to be my analysis tool. So now it is time to play along with this. Now I don't want this dissatisfaction or neutral or satisfied whatsoever to be right on it. That was why I actually exclude it. Now I'm going to click on this, highlight everything, go to the top level, insert, because it's not pivot table. It's not going to appear on the pivot table area. So now we have the same chart we've used previously to be used. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim it, and behind the scene you'll see what I've done. So the same thing. Now if you look at it, we've just done it just like what we've done before, but something is different a little bit. The color. So we have to change the color to something cool. So I have it highlighted. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to choose this particular color we have right here, and then we have to go to something like this, but it's not really cool. So what if we use this color, right? Wow, I think this is awkward a little bit. Is it awkward? I don't know, but we have to choose that color. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Let's see what this color is like. So it's a little bit cooler than the color we've used previously, though we have that particular color I've used previously on the dashboard, but I don't want to actually take over the whole dashboard whatsoever it is. Okay, now we have this. We can go ahead and bold this to actually pop out very well. So now this is the percentage of people who are dissatisfied with our services, right? Based on age group. So go ahead and actually put it up. So now, can you see this right now? This is what I'm talking about. So before we can be able to show if the actual percentage we have right here, all we have to do is to come back and actually highlight the column alone. So Control 1 and go right here and put it on 2 decimal points and all of that. So right now, if we go right here, it gives us the actual percentage. So 0.03% of people. No, it's very low. So now this is where we have the highest numbers of people who are highly dissatisfied and all of that. So now you can see, we can now see how we can make sense with this when it comes to the real life, way of actually achieving things in our organization. That is better, huh? So now we can go ahead and make sure this actually move a little bit right here and all that. Okay, remember that this label right here, travel by age group, is actually for this particular one alone. So for this one here, how do we have this? So it's very simple and easy. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna have to get this right here for you. I'm gonna explain how I did it. And very simple and easy. So what I just did was for me to actually use the same color and actually make sure I use transparency to actually get it changed. So Control 1 now, you can see I'm using 58%. So if I take it off from 58% to this now, we have the same color we use for the chart. So for it to actually rhyme, so I have to actually make sure I turn the transparency into 58% and I have something like this. And I use the same color for this chart for the text and all of that. And everything pops out well. That is okay, right? Beautiful. Okay, now we have to explain more about what we have right now for the end user to be able to actually relate to what it is that we're actually trying to do to help the airline company. That's it. Okay, before we get to create the captions that we have right here, I just want to be done with the charts first. All the charts, I just want to get done with it. Okay, now what you're going to do right now is to create this particular, kind of charts, which is kind of a little bit easy, but not so easy in in Microsoft Excel, but as Power BI concerned, is a little bit easier right there. I'm going to show you how to do this right now. Let's see how we can actually create this with some basic formulas. So what we need to do right now is to hit the right workbook for this, and here we go. This is the right workbook. I'm going to go right to this particular star rating already. And I don't want to go ahead and create this from the scratch again. Instead, I'm going to copy the previous one away from here, which is the previous pivot table we had created. So I'm going to have to paste this, somewhere around here. I'm going to paste it around here. And now what I'm going to do is just to make sure I bring up the field lists. And here we go. We have it. I'm going to take off this right away. That is what it is. And if I take you back to the previous one, what you're going to say is that we have them now grouped together. So we have what we call before boarding flight, like the pre-flight, like the services you have to encounter before you actually get to go into the flight and get to your destination, whatsoever it is, like this. Now, flight services are the services you have in the flight, and essential services are actually the services that are very important for the flight to actually, offer you once you board the plane and stuff like that. So we have to know all of this and group them. But the question is going to be this: how do you know all this? So you have to check Google and actually understand every single column, what it entails. And don't forget, we have what we call data dictionary right here that tells us each and every one of the columns we have right here. But if you're not really some kind of satiated with what we have right on this particular data dictionary, you can go ahead and make your research individually and understand what it is that each column stands for before you can be able to drive that kind of analysis and stuff like that. So now let's get back to the main business. So I'm going to hit my right workbook, and here we go. Sorry for that. So here we go. Okay, now we just have to click on this, and I told you about grouping them, right? So already I've done my research. You can go and do your research and see if what I've just grouped is actually right or whatsoever it is. So now I'm going to come right here. My grouping will start from here. If I actually navigate down a little bit right now, I'm going to pick on my easy online booking. I'm going to pick on my watch check-in service, my online boarding, and my get location. I think everything is some kind of sequentially arranged for us before now. That is okay. Okay, after this, what I'm going to do is, because I want to have it rated, I just have to turn everything into average. But how are we going to do that? It's very simple and easy. we do not need to write a single function to have it done. So just come down right here, and what you see is this particular part where we have this arrow down. Just go ahead and click it and actually go to view value field settings. And once you click on value field setting, what you're going to see is this right here, and just go ahead and click on this and turn it into average. And what you're going to have right now is this 3. But don't worry, everything's going to be 3 all through, but we are going to take care of that. I'm going to do the same thing with this one as well. So quickly, I just have to do it in a snappy way. I don't have to explain more again because already you understand what is going on. So click the third one, then go like this, and go ahead and click on this, then hit this, and go right to the last one right here and do the same thing. And there we go. We just have to click on average, and there we go. Okay, now that we are done, if you look at the header right now, it's kind of like not what it is that we are looking forward to. Okay, now what do? We have to remove all the average of from here. And how do we go ahead and do that? We don't have to do it individually. Instead, what we're going to do right now is to make sure we copy the header, we highlight the header and hit on our Control H. Okay, already I have average of typed in here before now. If you don't have it, what you need to do is just for you to actually type it in right here. So make sure it's correct, average of. And once you are done, we want to take it off. So now we have to replace this with nothing, which means we're gonna have to replace it with nothing right here. In case you want to replace it with something, just type whatever you want to have it replaced with right in the box. But right now I'm going to say replace with nothing. So once I click on it right now, guess what happened? This is what it is. It takes it out. Okay, now that we've done this, the next thing we're going to do right now, I'm going to have this closed, is this particular part right here. I'm going to have it some kind of highlighted for me. Now, once we are done, I'm going to Control 1. Then there we go. So I want to make sure I have some kind of decimal places, like 2, or I'm gonna have just 1, 2.8, or if you want to have 2, you can just go ahead and have it and click on OK. There you go. So we can see, so we have 2.7 and 2.3 and all that, so 3.31 and all that. Those are the averages we have. Now we are not done yet. I'm going to show you 2 ways to transpose and which one you should prefer. So I'm going to work out from this particular part of this side right here, because it's going to be some kind of awkward when we use here for analysis, for further analysis. Okay, now we have this particular way of transposing, because I want to transpose this and actually create further analysis. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to have to paste it down right here. So what I'm going to do right now is just go here and go toward paste and go to paste pressure. And once we are done clicking on that, so we can now see where we have transpose. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to click on OK, and there we have it. Okay, the bad side of this particular kind of transpose is that it will not get updated automatically when the header at the top right here gets updated. But I'm going to show you the updated version, the one that will definitely get updated. So what I'm going to do right now, Control Z to take it back because I don't want it. So now you have to count how many columns of what you want to transpose actually has. So it's 4 columns. So you're going to start from 1 and 2, 3, 4. So once you have actually counted the 4 cells, put your equal to without deselecting it and stuff like that, and type in this function called transpose. That is it. So transpose is an array function, so you have to hit your Control plus Shift and Enter before you can actually commit it and stuff like that. So I'm going to actually go ahead and actually start from here and say, okay, I want to transpose everything that I have right in here, and that is okay. So now I'm going to just say, okay, go ahead and just close this for me. We have the bracket closed, and once we have done that, you have to press your Control Shift down at the same spot, at the same time, sorry to say, then hit your Enter key, and there you have it. So right now, if I just go ahead and change something like this one, I'm going to change it to I'm going to say into the markets. So now it changes right here as well. Can you see that right now? But that is not what we want to have. I'm going to Control Z to take the rubbish off. So that is it. You understand it right now. Okay, in case you are some kind of lost somewhere, I'm going to take it again, which is the last one. So I'm going to have to just highlight this particular part right here, type in my equal to, then transpose to complete it. Your tab key will help you get it completed. So now we come right here. We have to make sure we highlight this, and once we are done, we have it closed. Control Shift Enter will help us to get this right here. Okay, now sometimes it's a little bit rough, right? Because we have not actually touched the That's my places. Just go to number, and now I'm gonna hit OK. That is where we have it. So now we are good to go, right? Okay, but that is not too cool. I'm gonna come right here, and I have to name this one my services. I'm gonna name this one average ratings. So I'm gonna start to give this one some numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get it? Some 5. So now this is what it is. So now that we've gotten this, we have to get very much more, a little bit deeper than what you think, like this. Okay, now what we're gonna do right now, we need to actually write some basic function to help us to create our ratings. So if this 5-star, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 stars, or 4 point something stars, we're gonna have it, right? Okay, how do we do this? It's very simple and easy. First of all, we have to put our equal to right here. And once we've done that, what we're going to do now is just to say if. So we're going to use if logic. If this number right here, so we have to fix it because we want to copy it down. What do? Your F4 key 1, 2, and 3. Once you press your F4 key 3 times, it's going to actually help you lock it. Having the $ at this particular edge, right? Now you see we have this right here, which is we are actually sitting on J. On I, so we are picking something from I, so which is I7, right? So you can see this is what it is right here, and so we've locked it down because we want to copy it down right here. Can you see that right now? That is very simple and easy. Okay, now we are going to say if this is, greater than or equal to this number right here. Can you see that right now? This very number right here. So now we have to control the lockings as well. Now, because the reason why we have the $ at the back of it is because when I copy it down, but right now when I copy it to the right hand side, so what do? Your F4 key twice. So instead of 3 times to have it at the back, now we have it twice because when I copy it to the right hand key or the right hand side, and it's very simple and easy. If you follow this tutorial, you will now understand what it is that I'm doing and how easy it is and stuff like that. Do you get it? So I'm gonna have my comma right here. And if that is true, just have 1 right here for me. And the next thing is my comma again. And we have to use an if condition, right? So now we're going to use an function inside if, which is called int, like integer, a number, and stuff like that. This particular same cell again. Now we know what we've done. You know what we have done right before now. 1, 2, 3 to help us lock it down. And we're going to have to close this right now. That is exactly what it is. So now that we've gotten this right, so we're gonna say if it is equal to this number here, press your F4 key twice to lock it because when I copy it across, now -1. You might be like, what the heck is going on? Don't worry. Once we are done, you're going to review this and you will see that it is very simple and easy. Okay, next we're gonna have a comma, and I'm gonna use this particular, instead of value if it is true, I'm gonna use this particular mod here. So this mod. So the number right now, I'm gonna refer to this particular same cell again. Now remember, you have to make sure 1, 2, 3, because when I copy it down, and after we are done with this, what is next? So we've just given it this particular number right here. So I'm gonna put on my comma, and for this divisor, I'm gonna have 1 for it. I'm gonna have to close it, and I'm gonna put my comma, and if value is false, give me 0, and I'm gonna have to close it twice, and I'm gonna hit my enter key, and it's giving me 1. Is this working? Let's see how we can do that. I'm gonna copy this across. Yep, this is what I have. Can you see that right now? So I'm gonna have to make Ctrl+1, and let's go to number formatting. I'm gonna have to just put it on 1, and let's see what it is that we have. I'm gonna go okay, and let's see what it is. So this is what we have. So right now we can just go ahead and copy this down, and this is what the you can see this right now. Can you see this? So if I go ahead and actually click this right here, can you see what it is right now? So this is going to jump from here, and land here, but we've locked this down. we've locked this down. We just want to copy it down. When we go, it's going to leave this cell down to this particular last cell. For example, if I go ahead and actually highlight this right now, this is what I'm going to have. So this one is taken from here, and this is okay, right? Now this is what we have done. In case you'll be like, what are we going to do with this? How do we go ahead and create our star rating, stuff like that? So the first thing you need to do after this is actually make sure you highlight this column. After the highlight, what are you supposed to do? We just have to go to the top level right here, and you have to make sure you click on home, and from home you can see where we have the conditional formatting right here. And I'm gonna click on this particular part where we have the icon settings, and I'm gonna go right here for the star rating. But instead of me to click on this, if I go ahead and click on this right now, guess what I'm gonna have? I'm gonna have this, and this is awkward. So we still have the numbers right here, so I want to have the numbers hidden. So how do we do that? I'm gonna Control Z to take it back, and I'm gonna go back right. I'm gonna go right back to conditional formatting, go to the icons, and instead of you to pick from here, what you need to do right now is just to make sure you go for more rows, and there you go. You're gonna have this, right? And what are we supposed to do? We can now choose our star from here. And once we have done that, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to say show only icon, like show icon only. This is what it is. So you don't need to do any special formatting again whatsoever it is. And the next thing you're going to do right now is just for you to click on this particular part, and here you go. You should have it. Now what we have is just the star rating. Oh, you might be like, oh, but why is this all 3 stars? No, all that of that. In case you have some kind of doubting if this really works rightly, so what I'm gonna do right now is to make sure I come back here. So let me just go on full screen. So I'm gonna come back right here. I'm gonna have this copied. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna come right here. I'm gonna have it pasted down. Okay, I think this might be a little bit longer. I'm gonna paste it right here. So once I've done this pasting, what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna just go ahead and take off every single thing we have right in here. I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna take this off as well. Remove from feed lists. I'm gonna take it off, and I have to take this off. And we know where we stop, so we just have to scroll down a little bit. So we start from this particular gate. So I'm gonna say on boarding service, seat comfort, and cleanliness, right? Okay, now before we start to do anything stupid, what I'm gonna do right now is to make sure I actually give every single column, every single arrangement I've done right here its name. So let's see that. So I'm gonna name this something like this, which is boarding before flight. Then right here we're gonna have to name this flight services, like in flight. So I still have one left, which is this, right? Food and drinks. Okay, now behind the scene I'm gonna have the average done before we go ahead and do that, and actually see how we can actually get it to our dashboard. Okay, quickly I've gotten this ready for you. So the next thing right now is to see how can we do this without writing the function from the scratch again. It's very simple and easy. Let me show you. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to double click on this, and I'm going to copy everything from here. Ctrl C will help me to copy it, and Ctrl V will help me to paste it right in here. And I'm still making a reference to this particular part right here, which is not supposed to be like that. All I need to do right now is just to change this one down to this particular down one. Just make sure you have this cross and move it, then come back again, move it again. You have another one, so you have to move them all. So once you have moved them all right now, I'm going to hit my enter key. So we don't need to go ahead and change any of the top numbers right here. So what I need to do right now is to make sure I just have to copy to the right hand side, just like this. So this is what it is, right? Ctrl 1, then we have to go to number. I just have to make sure I remove the extra decimal point we have right then. I'm gonna click on OK, and now there we go, we have this. So I'm gonna have to make sure I copy this down as well. I'm gonna copy it down. Okay, let's see what we're gonna have now. If I go to the header, I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go to this particular icons. I'm gonna say mod rules, and quickly, we've done this before now. You just have to choose star and say show icon only, and there we go. We click on OK. So now, do you look at the difference right now? So let me just show you on a zoom level. So now we have this to be some kind of like 3.38, and you have it extended down to this particular part right here. Can you see that this is working well? It's not something that I just copy and paste from anywhere, and this is what it is. So right now, I want to stop it this way and see how we can actually get this to our dashboard and make it very nice on the dashboard. Okay. The first thing we're going to do right now is to adjust the column. Yep, adjusting the column is very important. So what you need to do is just to highlight everything you have from here. Just highlight it, highlight this column. So make sure you place, don't just come here and start highlighting from here like this. It's not going to work that way. What works is highlighting from this particular top level, this particular J down to N, right? So once you've done that, you can actually go ahead and make it smaller like this and actually open it up to my satisfaction. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. Then once I'm done with this, I'm going to do something. Okay, the next thing we can do right now is that, okay, let's say we have it opened up like this and stuff like that, and we want to automatically do it and fit it right the way it should be. What we need to do is to actually define how much numbers we want the column to be. I don't know if you get what I'm talking about. Let me show you in practical. I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, and you can see where we have this particular format, cell, and column weight, right? So click on the column weight, right? So now I'm going to say 2.28. I'm going to click on OK, and now this is what we have. It's cool, right? Okay, it might look some kind of like, what the heck have you done? It's simple. So right now we've defined it, and this is what I want to be on the dashboard, just like this. But we're not done yet. The next thing we're going to do right now is to make sure we deselect this and go to the top level right here and go ahead and click on view. And from view, I want to take it out from, okay, you can leave the formula bar, but this particular grid line should go off. I don't want the grid line to be right on it. The reason being that I just want to make sure I copy this as an image, and it has to be linked to here. Should in subsequently, anything changes, is going to actually have to affect our dashboard. What do we do, and how do we get this down to a dashboard? Okay, it's very simple. What I need to do right now is just to make sure I copy this alone. So once I've copied this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to Ctrl C to have it copied. You don't have to do anything. We have another way to do this, but this is one of the simplest and easiest way without you doing any setting or having anything to remember so much. I hit back to my dashboard, and there we go. So make sure you are selecting a particular cell. Don't select anything like object or shape whatsoever. Select a particular cell. So go to the top level right here and open it up, and go to home, and from home click on this particular paste, and there you go. We have several types of paste and stuff like that. You have to go to paste special. You don't need to. So what you need to do right now is to look at where we have linked picture. Linked picture will definitely help you to link the formulas, and once it gets updated, your dashboard gets the update. That is what we're gonna use. But don't use this. It's just picture. It has nothing to do with link, but use this instead. Okay, there you go. We have it already. So now, if you can see, it's as clean as whatever you're thinking of. That is beautiful. Now, the reason why we did this was because, the reason why we remove all the border away from it is that if we don't have them removed, it's going to show up on the dashboard right here. So we have gotten them eradicated. Eradicated? Is that correct? Oh, sorry, don't mind me. Okay, now that's exactly what it is. So we've just gotten this right here, and it's awesome. So the next thing is for we to represent this with, like, we just have to bring all this right to the dashboard. I'm going to show you how to do it just once. So what you can do right now is to get any of this VHI that we've used previously, have it right here, and come right here and actually go ahead and pick it up. Just take this off and have your equal to right in here, and go right here and actually pick this up from here and hit your enter key, and there you have it. You have to extend it to make sure everything shows and stuff like that, and you do it just like this, and you have it all through, and you arrange it, and your dashboard is good to go. Can you see that right now? Very simple and easy. Okay, as you can see behind the scene, I've done this, and this is what it is. You can do it too. That is nice. If you remember vividly, previously we had actually used this particular before our boarding flight that we have at the top right here. You can name it anything you want that best explain what you want to have on your dashboard and stuff like that. That is cool. So let me take you to the previous one we have actually completed. Okay, if you look at it from this particular perspective right now, we have before boarding, we have flight services, and we have essential services right here, and you have the start ratings and stuff like that. This is how we have actually gotten this that to make us to recommend some kind of like what the company should do, what the airline company should do, and what should be updated, and what should be some kind of upfront for every customers, both the first time and the returning customer, to actually have a very good retention, along the line, stuff like that. Can you see this right now? I think, guys, it's going to be very easy for you right now to create the remaining part of this dashboard without me having to do this from the scratch again. So now I've just created 2 of them, and I've just taken one to the dashboard, and the third one is something you have to create yourself and actually arrange them the way it is now that you have the data and stuff like that. This is something very simple and easy to be created. It's not something very hard at all. All I need to do is just to help you think, and once you have just actually getting to learn how to think and what to be done, and if you've just seen one example from what I'm talking about, you should be able to actually get yourself upfront to have it done, because I know you are very, very receptive person. Okay, guys, so ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're gonna stop this right now. So when we come back again, we're gonna have the dashboard completed and we are going to be good to go. So welcome to Data Decision. Keep learning, subscribe if you are not, and actually share and like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this particular dashboard. It's very important, and it's gonna help my channel grow when you leave a comment. So see you in the next video.